Hello, and thank you for joining me today at Wrought Iron Farm. Today's project is a San Mai blade. It is going to be constructed of wrought iron and high carbon steel. This is an old Heller file. The wrought iron I sourced from an old farm in Indiana. The gentleman said his family had bought the farm in the 40s, and there was a pile of old wagon parts next to the barn, and I bought some of the wagon parts from him, brought it home and did some tests on it, and it was beautiful wrought iron. And I thought, what a perfect piece of metal to use for a San Mai blade would be this awesome wrought iron. So that's what today's project is, and I hope you stick around and check it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe. It all helps us out, and we appreciate you. Thank you. So right here I am taking the wrought iron, which is part of, I believe, a axle shaft from an old wagon, horse-drawn wagon, and I'm just flattening it down, getting it to, the same size as the file pretty much, so that way I could use it as the jacket on the file. And that's what these clips here are, is the preparation to make the San Mai billet. A lot of the footage in this video is sped up between 2 and 4 times speed. I had 7 hours of footage between making the first billets out of wrought iron and then combining that with the file to make the billet to draw out the knife with. It was a lot of work, and I don't think people understand how much work goes into making billets, so I tried to capture as much of that as possible without going over the YouTube's limit of 15-minute videos. If you have under so many subscribers, they allow you 15 minutes, so I tried to fit in as much as possible with the time I had, without making it boring. If anybody has any suggestions on how I could do better, please leave them down in the comments. We do read all of our comments. Now with wrought iron, you have to work it really hot. You have to stay as close to forge welding temperature as you can, because you'll start to split the metal if it's not hot enough. So that's why you hit it a little bit and you pop it right back in the forge to reheat it. I keep cleaning the anvil off on or the dies off on the power hammer, because with the wrought iron, it's got a lot of impurities in it, and that scale gets all over the dies, and the last thing I want to do is embed a bunch of scale into the metal. It'll be harder to clean the surfaces when I'm trying to weld them together. So that's why I shut it off, clean it, and then wait for the steel to heat back up and go back to work. All right, next I'm going to clean up these surfaces and get everything ready to weld. Time to clean these up. This is the file here. I'm going to clean that up first. Just realized that I'm missing my respirator. Tack the four corners. Now I'm going to put it in kerosene. So whenever I do any forge welding, I soak the billet in kerosene, so that way the kerosene soaks in all the nooks and crannies. And when I put it into the forge, it flash burns and creates like an oil coating almost. So that way it doesn't build up scale. When you have scale built up, it stops the billet from welding clean. And same thing with borax. That's what you see me putting on here. It keeps the steel clean and stops oxidization from happening, so that way when you weld, you get really nice clean welds and you know everything is stuck together. Coming up here is the first forge weld. When you're forge welding, you want to set your first weld and then put it right back into the forge as fast as you can, and keep it really hot and keep it right there pretty much around that forge welding temperature until you get 2 or 3 welds in, and then you can start working it like you would, you know, any other piece of steel. So that's what these first few shots are here. It's just me setting the welds, and then I flip it up on the side and hit the side, make sure that the weld is taken. And this slowdown footage here I just thought was super cool, seeing all the sparks shoot off of the billet. Well, I cut that monster blade down. The blade itself measured like 12¼ inches, and to me, that's like a mini sword. So I cut it down, and I cut it on an angle. So now I have 2 chunks of that San Mai blade or billet, and I'm gonna make like a 7-inch fighter out of the one piece, and just like I don't know yet, some kind of other knife out of the other piece. So that's what we're doing today. Here it is. This is gonna be the fighter here. So for the most part, I ended up getting 2 blades out of that one billet. And right here, I'm just working on flattening out the tang again and reshaping the tang a little bit, making it the proper thickness. And I'm going back and forth, trying to shape the blades the way I want, and just trying to get them as even as possible. Trying to keep that file in the center of the 2 wrought iron pieces. Well, thank you for sticking it through, those of you who made it to the end. This is gonna be the end of part 1 of the wrought iron San Mai build. Here I'm just going to be touching up the tip. I didn't like the way it was shaped, so I'm going to make it more of like a buoy style. It was pointed down a little bit funky looking, so I hammered it so the tip of the blade comes up a little. But not forging anymore here. I'm just kind of tapping and straightening. And if you join us in part 2, you'll see me heat treat these 2 knives and grind them and put the handles on. There was no way I was fitting that into this video. So here's a couple pictures of the rough ground blades, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.